All right, here's my last minute, 10-minute March Madness breakdown of this first round. I'm going to try to fly through all these games. We're going to skip the Auburn-Alabama State game because it's not going to be close. Louisville and Creighton is our first matchup we're looking at. I really like this Creighton team. I love the actions that they run with Greg McDermott. A lot of stacked actions where we got a lot of guys moving and creating looks for each other. Ryan Kalkbrenner is an awesome player, but they do have Pop Isaacs out, and that's 17 points per game off the board. Louisville's a really good team. They're underseeded at this 8th seed, and they took Duke deep into games. And I don't see them blowing Creighton out, but I do see them probably pulling away because this game is in Kentucky. It's basically a home game. This is really a coin flip matchup. Michigan and UC San Diego. The interesting part about this is it's really contrasting styles. Michigan is an awesome team that's hot right now. They have the 4th most quad one wins, and they're a really talented 5 seed. They're playing against a team who's probably the worst draw they could get because it's 5 out, it's spaced with a lot of guard play, a lot of threes, and they're going to pull these Michigan bigs out of the paint and try to play them as guards. So I think this is a contrast of styles, and we're going to see which one wins out. I do think Michigan is going to be able to take care of business in this game. Next game, we have Texas A&M and Yale. This is really interesting because this Texas A&M team is the worst three-point shooting team in the country, but they're the best offensive rebounding team. So they're going to miss a lot of shots, but they're going to get a lot of them back. If Yale can rebound with this team and take away the physicality advantage that A&M has, they could easily win this game. They shoot the ball really well. They don't shoot it at a high frequency. I believe they're 230th in the rim and 3 rate. They just don't pull enough of these shots. But if they do and they get hot with Poulikitis and these other seniors, I think they could easily beat this Texas A&M team. Ole Miss, I think they take care of business against North Carolina. This UNC team's hot, but I think you have to see a regression off of the amazing shooting from RJ Davis and the other guys in this past game. Ole Miss does not impress me, though. I think they'll get beat before they get to the Sweet 16. Not sure where that's going to happen, though. Iowa State is a really good team. Unfortunately, with Keyshawn Gilbert out for the tournament with the groin injury, this is going to be troublesome for them, but I really like this team, and if they can get over the hump and be able to play with good guard play, they're going to take care of Lipscomb, who does shoot a lot of threes. So they have the DNA for an upset team, but I think Iowa State can take care of that, and I do think Iowa State can do some damage in this bracket. Marquette playing New Mexico. This is a really good guard play game. We have Donovan Dent, who's averaging 20 and 5. He's the only player in the country doing that for New Mexico. And then Marquette with a really good team scoring and analytic group. I think with the analytics on Marquette's side, they're really high in rim and 3 rate. They're really high in transition. And New Mexico, on the other hand, kind of has a nasty shot chart. They have good guard play, but the offense is a little more sporadic. And I think the analytics are going to win out in this game for Marquette. Moving on to Michigan State. Another team similar to Texas A&M in the fact that they're one of the worst shooting teams in the country. But if they can make shots, they can go on a deep run. Tom Izzo is one of the best coaches in March. I think they take care of Bryant, although Bryant could get off to a little bit of a hot start and give them a scare early. I don't think this is going to be a problem for Michigan State, but they are a team to look out for getting upset a little bit earlier in this bracket because of the poor shooting. Moving on, Florida, they're going to take care of business against Norfolk State. This team is really impressive, and I really think they can make a deep run. The analytics are on their side, along with the size and the shooting. This is a really dangerous team. Connecticut playing Oklahoma. Connecticut should win this game. They have much better analytics and shot quality. They do a really good job, but they haven't had the season that's been expected. I do think this is more of a UConn game than a coin flip game at the 8-9 group, but this will be a really interesting matchup. Memphis and Colorado State. This is rare that we see a 12 seed with Colorado State have better odds, and they're supposed to win their spread. They're supposed to win the game against Memphis as a 12 seed. I don't think Nico Medvedev's going to be there very much longer. He's a great coach. They run a lot of really good stuff with Princeton action and some other stuff that they do to get open looks. They can be more methodical, and I think it's going to be interesting to see that style juxtaposed with what Memphis does with PJ Haggerty leading the way. They're really physical. They play hard. They're talented. So this is going to be another one where it's like styles make fights, and I'm interested to see if Vegas is right and Colorado State can come out ahead. But I think this motivates a Memphis team. I think this is going to be a really good game. Next, we got Maryland and Grand Canyon. This one's going to be so fun to watch. It's one of my top games to watch in this first round because you have Grand Canyon who flies across the floor. It's really a chaotic style. If we saw them play last year, we know that they're exciting to watch, but this is a talented 4-seed Maryland team. They have a lot of really good players. They're top 30 in the country in offense. Top 30 in the country in offense and top 10 in defense. So they are no slouch at the 4 seed. Derek Queen is a great mismatch guy. They also have really talented other players that can make threes, drive to the rim and attack. And I think this team, like a lot of people think, could make it pretty far. Missouri and Drake. I'm on the side of Drake with a lot of other people that they can easily win this. And I don't really think this is a 6-11 type game. To me, it feels more like a 7-10 or an 8-9 because this Drake team runs great stuff. They have experienced players. Coach McCollum is probably not going to be there long. He brought in some great players from D2. They're number 2 in the country in transition. They're number 34 in finishing at the rim. They play really good basketball. And this Missouri team is good, but we're going to see if the experience can win out. This is a game where I think it's going to come down to the wire. Moving on, we got Texas Tech playing against UNC Wilmington. I don't see this game having upset potential. I think Coach McCaslin does an unbelievable job, especially on the defensive end. But this year, they're able to pair that with a team that's analytically top 5 in the country shooting threes. JT Toppin is a really good player. And this Texas Tech team is dangerous at the 3 seed. We got Kansas and Arkansas. To me, I'm just going with Bill Self over Coach Cal in this game. Arkansas has been pretty inconsistent up and down, but they were able to finish and make the tournament. I just think this is a game where both of these teams could easily win, and both of these teams could be dangerous in this second round game. But I got Kansas over Arkansas. And this last game, we got St. John's, the number 2 seed. And I do think they're going to be able to get through this Omaha team that won the Summit League. But the second round game is really interesting to me because St. John's is analytically the lowest, weakest 2 seed in the KenPom. And I think they could run into trouble against Kansas or Arkansas, particularly Kansas, if they can match the physicality because St. John's offensively has struggled a bit and they can go into droughts. Moving up to the East with the Duke side of the bracket. This Duke team is going to be completely dependent on if Cooper Flagg is healthy. We don't really know exactly what that sprained ankle looks like, but it's going to be interesting to see when he comes back and what he's able to do. Next game, we have Mississippi State and Baylor. These are 2 teams that could be dangerous for Duke. This, to me, is really a coin flip game. Baylor struggled against Quad 1 teams, but they have BJ Edgecombe. They're really good in transition. This is going to be an exciting game, I think, to watch. And I think it's going to be really entertaining. I do think Baylor squeaks this one out. Oregon, with their size and their physicality, I think they take care of Liberty. But again, this Liberty team has the DNA to be an upset team. They're top 10 in rim and threes. They're top 10 in mid-range. They're top 10 in isolation. They're top 30 in three-pointers. So they have the DNA. They have the ability to upset a 5 seed, no problem. But I think with their strength of schedule and what they've accomplished, it's awesome. But I don't think they'll be able to hang with the size and the Power 5 strength that Oregon has. I could be wrong. Arizona playing Akron. This is one that's really interesting because Arizona basically goes with the ebb and flow of Caleb Love. I think they could have trouble against Akron, and Akron is a dangerous team. I think they're well coached, and I think Arizona can pull this one out, but I don't see Arizona as a 4 seed making it very far. They've just been too inconsistent. I do think the offensive rebounding that they have against the smaller guard play of Akron is going to get them through this first round game, but I wouldn't be surprised if they lose in the second round. BYU against VCU is a really interesting one. I don't think BYU has gotten enough love. I think obviously they live and die by the 3, but they're number 4 in finishing at the rim. They're number 10, they're number 20 in transition. They have the analytic makeup to go very far in this tournament. They can do damage against any team in the tournament, but as many people will tell you, they can also lose to anybody. I do think they'll get through this first round game. Wisconsin playing against Montana. Montana is very, very weak in their schedule. They're 1-7 against Quad 1 and 2 teams. I don't see them giving Wisconsin any trouble in this game. Wisconsin has the offense that they've been missing the past couple years. They have the size. Tonje's really impressive. I think they're going to breeze through this first game because Montana's a weak 14 seed. St. Mary's and Vandy is going to be a really interesting game. When we look at St. Mary's, They have some European talent. They do an amazing job tipping the ball out and getting offensive rebounds. They're going to play at their own pace, which could really give Vanderbilt some trouble. Vanderbilt, maybe they haven't gotten the love that they deserve this year, but if they can take care of the duck-ins and the physicality and the methodical pace where St. Mary's is trying to control the game, if they can start to control the flow of this game, I think Vanderbilt can win this basketball game. Alabama, Robert Morris. I actually really like this Robert Morris team. They have a lot of assisted field goals. They play good basketball. I love the coaching. I don't think they're going to be able to upset Alabama. I do have Alabama in my Final Four beating Duke in this bracket. So we'll see if this can be an entertaining game early on. Moving on to Houston. They're going to take care of business. This Houston team is really, really good. They have the offense and the defense. Obviously, they're going to be able to sustain games and avoid upsets, but they're dealing with the Gonzaga team who's top 10 in KenPom. If Gonzaga can get past this Georgia team, and this Georgia team is no slouch either. They were very competitive in the SEC and had some big wins. They are a physical team that finishes well at the rim. I think whoever wins this game could really put up a fight against Houston and give them some trouble. I wouldn't be extremely surprised if Gonzaga can string together some good offensive possessions, get past Georgia, and then really give a scare to Houston in the second round. Moving on, we look at this 5-12 game with Clemson and McNeese. I think McNeese is really well coached. They have athletes. They have three-point shooting. Will Wade is going to be gone after this year, it looks like. Great coach over there who's developed this program the past few years. This Clemson team, to me, is a team that doesn't really have a calling card. I don't know if I could say they shoot it well or they play amazing defense. Sure, they have some great Power 5 size, but this McNeese team, they played close with Alabama. They played North Texas. They played Liberty, another tournament team, Mississippi State. And I think, sure, the conference wasn't too strong, but this is a team that I think proved to themselves early on, hey, we can play with anybody. And I think this could be a really exciting 5-12 game. Moving on to Purdue and High Point. This High Point team analytically has the DNA to get upsets. They shoot the ball well. They play fast. They're going to be able to give a scare to Purdue if they shoot the ball extremely well. If they don't shoot the ball well, they're not going to be in this game, and I think Purdue could move on pretty easily. Illinois and Xavier. This Xavier team is coming off a really fun win last night. They play good basketball. They are able to make threes with their 1 through 5 positions. They could really give Illinois a scare. If this was Texas in this matchup, I think Illinois gets through this easily. But if we look at this Illinois team, this is a team that was very promising early on. Sure, they dropped some games, but this is a strong 6 seed led by Coach Underwood. And I think this team could do some damage a few games into this tournament. If we look at their analytics, they finish at the rim really well. I think this really comes down to if Illinois can make threes. If Illinois can make threes, they're going to be a dangerous team in this tournament. If they don't make threes and Xavier does, I think that's the ball game in this matchup. Kentucky, Troy. Troy is a dangerous 14 seed. I believe they're the strongest 14 seed. And you're looking at a Kentucky team that does so many things well. It's just a question of if they can basically play hard and physical enough. This Troy team coached by Scott Cross, we know they're going to come in battle ready. We know they're going to play hard. And if Kentucky can just sustain the physicality battle throughout this region, and especially as they get to a team like Houston, I think this could be a Final Four team with the shooting ability that they have and everything else that they do well. They just have to match up physically to everybody that they play. UCLA and Utah State. I hate UCLA's shot chart. And I think that if Utah State can win the analytic battle in this game, obviously that doesn't tell the whole story, but I think they can easily win this matchup. Tennessee playing Wofford. Tennessee's going to get through this first round game. All right, so if we zoom out and look at this bracket, to me, the 4-13s with Yale and Akron, and then we got Grand Canyon and High Point, I think one of these teams is probably going to win a game. I would be shocked if all the 4 seeds get through. 5-12 games as well are going to be super interesting. UC San Diego shooting a lot of threes against Michigan's size. You have Colorado State, who's favored over Memphis. You have McNeese led by Will Wade against this Clemson team. And then we have Liberty playing Oregon. So you have these 13 seeds and 12 seeds that shoot. And if they can make threes, they're going to win one of these games. What I'm also really interested in is the second round matchups between Gonzaga and Houston, if Gonzaga can get through and stay hot. Michigan State and Marquette. Marquette could really do some damage, and I think they could make it farther than the second round because of the analytics and because of the balance that they have against a poor Michigan State shooting team. Kansas over St. John's. I'm ready to see St. John's prove that they can beat anybody throughout this bracket outside the Big East, but they're the weakest 2 seed. They have flaws offensively, and I think Kansas could take advantage of this. BYU, Wisconsin. Again, if BYU makes shots, they could make it to the Elite Eight. This Wisconsin team is more talented offensively, but they had a nasty Big Ten championship game where the game was in the 20s at halftime. BYU could beat this Wisconsin team. And then Maryland, Florida. This is going to be an amazing matchup. The 1 and the 4. Florida is completely healthy. I think they should make the national championship. They have so much balance. They have size. They have speed. They have shooting. This is a team that is really well-rounded going into this tournament at full speed ahead. So to recap, if I'm looking at games that I don't want to miss, Louisville-Creighton. It's going to be really cool to see the offensive battle that takes place. Michigan, UC San Diego. We have a style fight. We'll see who comes out ahead. Texas A&M, Yale. A lot of people expecting that to be a really good game. Marquette, New Mexico will be fun if you like to watch guard play and see some isolation, see some guys that are trying to take over the game. I'm going to move down all the way to Memphis, Colorado State. This is one that I think everybody needs to watch. Maryland, Grand Canyon. I don't think it's going to be a close 4-13 game. I think Maryland should pull this out, and it's going to surprise a lot of people if they don't. Missouri, Drake is a game that you have to watch. I could see the East region of the bracket being boring in the first round. And then if you look at the bottom side, if you look at the Midwest, I think anything could happen in the Midwest. Houston could blow through everybody. I think they have a favorable route. But at the same time, we could see 5 upsets in the first round. We could see Kentucky make it out of this bracket. Houston and Tennessee, if they end up playing each other, it's 2 teams that do a lot of things very similar, but Houston does them better. So I'm really interested to see how this first round goes because I think in the second round we have a lot of really interesting matchups as well.